Motivation was never supposed to be the thing that keeps you going. If you've noticed your excitement for your faith rising and falling like a wave, intense after a powerful sermon or worship night, then completely gone 2 weeks later, I want to talk honestly about why that keeps happening and what actually sustains a faith that lasts. Because I don't think the problem is that you're weak or inconsistent. I think the problem is that you've been relying on the wrong fuel. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are inherently unstable. They respond to circumstances, sleep, stress, and 100 other variables outside your control. If your entire spiritual life depends on feeling motivated, you will have a faith that rises and crashes constantly, because feelings were never designed to be a foundation. This is exactly why so many people experience a spiritual high after a retreat, a conference, or a powerful worship experience, and then feel like failures 2 weeks later when that high naturally fades. The high wasn't fake, it just was never meant to be permanent fuel. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Notice this verse assumes weariness will happen. It doesn't promise constant motivation. It calls for consistent perseverance despite fluctuating motivation. Here's the shift that actually changes everything. Discipline is not the opposite of grace, and it's not legalism. Discipline is simply choosing to show up regardless of how you feel in the moment, because you understand the long-term value of consistency over the short-term comfort of feeling inspired. Daniel prayed 3 times a day, every day, whether he felt spiritually charged or not, whether it was convenient or dangerous. That consistency, not a constant emotional high, is what built the kind of faith that could stand firm even in a lion's den. If you wait to pray until you feel like praying, you will pray far less than someone whose decided prayer happens regardless of feeling. The same is true for reading scripture, for serving, for gathering with other believers. Feelings are welcome participants, but they make poor foundations. There are usually a few specific reasons your motivation dips after an initial spiritual high. First, the environment that sparked the motivation often isn't sustained afterward. A powerful worship night creates an atmosphere. Going home to the same routines, same distractions, same lack of structure often lets that spark fade, simply because nothing was built to sustain it. Second, there's often no concrete next step attached to the inspiration. Feeling moved without a specific, practical action to follow up with almost guarantees the feeling dissipates without producing lasting change. Third, comparison creeps back in. You see other believers who seem constantly on fire online, and you measure your normal human fluctuation against their curated highlight reel, concluding falsely that something is wrong with you. Build small, specific habits instead of chasing big emotional moments. A 5-minute daily habit of prayer or scripture done consistently will outlast an intense but unsustained spiritual high every time. Attach a concrete action to any moment of inspiration. If a sermon moves you, immediately decide one specific thing you'll do this week in response, not a vague feeling, an actual action. Build rhythms with other people, not just personal discipline alone. Hebrews 10:25 talks about not giving up meeting together, but encouraging one another. Community sustains motivation in ways private discipline alone often can't, and expect the wave. Understand that spiritual highs and lows are normal, not a sign of failure. The goal was never constant euphoria. It was faithful consistency through the natural rhythm of both. Motivation will always rise and fall. That's not a flaw in your faith. That's just how feelings work. What actually sustains a lasting relationship with God is discipline, rhythm, and community that carries you through the seasons. Motivation can't. If you've been feeling discouraged by your own inconsistency, let this be the moment you stop chasing another emotional high and start building something small and sustainable instead. If this resonated with you, comment below with one small habit you're committing to this week. And if you know someone who's been riding the motivation roller coaster, send this to them today. I'll see you in the next one.